My name is Justina, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am the membership and program coordinator at Sister Song, the National Women of Color Reproductive Justice Collective. And I was really excited to come and be here and be in this space, one, because I've never been to Detroit. So I just, that was cool. And then also, of course, to just, I feel like, in this particular line of work, a lot of the times we're so siloed, like doing the work that we do, and I love the opportunities that we can create to understand the intersectionality of all of our issues. And so, doing reproductive justice work, I am used to the reproductive justice community and what that looks like. But I definitely, think and agree that our line of work coincides with how do we fuck up the prison industrial complex. I hope I can cuss. But yeah, and also, when I first came to Sister Song, I was an intern, and I mentioned this a little bit in my introduction, but I was an intern, and one of my first big tasks was to help organize a conference. So it was really wild, and it was for Marissa Alexander. So I had never at that time been introduced to reproductive justice. The only movement work I had been connected to or associated with was doing education reform work, and I guess highlighting or amplifying the school to prison pipeline, and doing research around that. And so when I got the internship at Sister Song, I had never heard of RJ. I didn't know what that meant, and to I guess be presented with Marissa Alexander's case and understanding all of the intricacies and complexities of it, and applying that to the work that we did and organizing this national conference was life-changing, literally. And I was like, this is where I need to be. This is the line of work that I feel like resonates, and I think that it's definitely a part of my purpose. So I'm just excited to be here and learn from so many other people who are doing similar work. The Free Marissa Now campaign is there, everybody is so smart and strategic in the way that they were able to amplify her case, especially around, what was going on with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, and how he used the same defense and was able to, be free in that way, and how that wasn't the same case with Marissa. So I think for me, it was well, here you have it. We always have proof, but here you have it. Two people who are using the same exact, defense or whatever, and it doesn't actually work in favor for the woman of color who is actually trying to survive. So what does that say? So I think I've been thinking a lot about that, how that amplified, and how people know a lot about her case because of that. And then just kind of to me too, when I think about her, I think about intersectionality as well, just all of the different pieces. She was breastfeeding at the time, that she was originally incarcerated. So being torn away from her baby and, her children, and again, that whole right to parent your children in safe and healthy environments, that's taken away. And her not being able, to live. And I've been thinking a lot too about this whole notion against survive versus thrive, right? I'm so tired of surviving. We deserve more than that. We deserve more than just to survive. We so deserve to thrive and build sustainable and healthy environments and communities. And she was put away and wasn't able to do that for a time being. So yeah, I think that's what I think about when I think about her and her case. Oh my gosh. I cried 5 times already. It was really amazing to talk to her, and I guess, yeah, to even tell her, like, yeah, like your story really, inspired me, and it changed my career trajectory, literally. And I don't like say that to, um, I guess, like, be dramatic or anything. Like, it literally did. I don't think I would have been doing this work if I hadn't planned that conference and understood what she was going through at that time, and what many other, like, folks are going through, women of color, trans folks, marginalized communities, when dealing, like, within the prison system. So. Coming into social justice work, I realized that we're all survivors in some way or form of another, and I think that, like, understanding, like, experiences, like, not only with myself but like my family. Like, for instance, one of the breakout groups that I was in, we were talking about, the insane statistics around black men in prison. Like, I think 1 in 3 have or will be incarcerated in their lifetime. And I was talking to the folks in the group about how, like, literally every black man in my family has been affected in some way or form or of another, even if it's like minor, right? But they've been harassed, or they've been pulled aside, or they've been, been maybe even like a victim of police brutality, all of these different things. And I guess, like, understanding that those experiences do play out into the bigger picture, and that's a lot of different people's experiences. And yeah, chances are, if you're talking to a person of color, they know someone who's been incarcerated or have been through that. And so just like drawing those connections into my personal life, family life, and professional has been really profound. Obviously, because I work in reproductive justice, I'm such a huge advocate for RJ, and mainly because I think it's a very beautiful and overarching framework that encompasses so much, but folks usually associate reproductive justice with abortion rights and issues, and while that may be part of it, it's definitely not the big picture. At Sister Song, we define RJ, to be the right to have a child, the right to not have a child, and the right to parent those children in safe and healthy environments. And again, those tenets are so vague and overarching, and it's that way for a reason, because there are a lot of different factors that makes families not feel safe or feel like they're not sustainable. And then also just the idea around bodily autonomy, that is actually a human right to own your body and not have anybody should subject that to violence in whatever form, including the prison industrial complex, including even just like, I guess, making the connection that the fact that there's legislation around the fact that I can't get birth control in certain places or whatever, connects to the fact that folks are being criminalized in the way that they are. So just like bringing all of that into the forefront, and really understanding intersectionality, like not just as a buzzword, but as a lived experience. I just feel like a lot of the times, folk of color, like, it's important to like coin or certain terms, or like to create certain terms to like get folks who are not in like I guess in marginalized, I guess, positions to understand. So it's like that, like, whole academic approach. But I think that intersectionality is literally my life. The fact that I'm Black and then I also identify as a woman, like, these are things that I can't separate, and these are things that like make up the foundation of who I am. So it's like when I'm interacting with somebody, they're not only going to perceive me as Black, and they're not only going to perceive me as a woman, they're going to perceive me as a Black woman, and how those two things intersect. And so, yeah, it definitely applies, of course, to the work that we do. Like, we work a lot with economic justice groups too, and also helping, the labor rights movement and all of that understand that their work is also reproductive justice. The fact that you don't have a living wage, that's an RJ issue. Like, you can't be sustainable. You can't raise your children off of $7.25 an hour. Or you can, and people have, and it's phenomenal, but it's just not sustainable, and it's not right, and you shouldn't have to. This like whole convening so far has been so profound and amazing and beautiful, and like I said, I've cried like 5 times already. But honestly, like being able to like talk to Marissa Alexander like some more, and like communicate with her, and hear more about her story, and all of that was like really full circle for me, personally, and like just like in my journey as a young activist and organizer. And it kind of just affirmed everything that I already knew, and that always feels good too. And just like a community, every time I go to a gathering, but this one in particular is making me think so much about community and how essential and imperative it is to overall liberation. Like, if we don't have community, then what do we have, in a world that tells us that we don't deserve that either. There are some really dope and amazing and phenomenal folk out here doing some radical work, and you should learn about them. You should look up your local orgs within your community, and you should find out more ways to support the work that they're doing, because we talk a lot about being rendered invisible, right? Not only like in prisons and in these correctional centers, but even like in the work that we do, like we're on the front lines, but yet people don't necessarily see us. And so like I think raising that awareness is important. Also with the fact that most folks, I feel like, or I'll speak with I statements, in my experience, have been like they don't necessarily like to praise themselves, or they don't necessarily even like to highlight the work that they're doing, and they should. It's phenomenal and it's great, and we need all of it. We need all of it and so much more, on this long journey to freedom. I feel like that's just always the larger question in most gatherings. Like, how do we stay connected? How do we like continue this work? And it's always so hard because of capacity reasons, right? It's like we're coming from orgs that maybe there's only like 5 or 6 people or less. And then like we're doubled up, in our jobs. So it's like continuing those connections also, like it's another thing, but then it's also so important. So I don't know, I was thinking about, because in the past I've been in listservs and kind of like email groups, but that gets tedious. And so like I think something that kind of would be cool, like no pressure type situation, would maybe be like a Facebook group, or yeah, like I think a Facebook group, so then that way, like, and then it can be more formal too. Like, I mean, at least listserv is fine. But I'm just saying, I go through a lot of emails, as I'm sure most people do. So, yeah, I think like a Facebook group would be cool, because then people could just like post about the stuff that they're doing, articles, whatever, and continue that way of communication. I'll be down for that.